Well, another Monday means we are talking Greyhounds once again, and this week is the second instalment of Talking Laurels. We saw some brilliant performances in the opening round of the Laurels, more again on Saturday night in the second round. This week, I'm again joined by the exiled dub, Tommy Lyons. He's even exiled from Cork as we speak. He's in Killarney for the races. Well done, Tommy. Well done for joining us on your... It's a phone line, I believe, so probably not the best of connections.
No, not the best of connections, Ian, but we're here.
That's the main thing. And, of course, Mert is with us also. Mert Murphy, how are you doing, Mert?
Very good indeed, Ian. I am a little bit perturbed that I have an exiled dub in Cork invading my space, because I am the king of the kingdom, as you know. So my crown is in danger, but he'll be gone this evening, I presume, once the racing is over.
I noticed with the two of you now, a crown would probably slide off both your heads now, to be brutally honest. Let's get talking about the Laurels, lads.
Wait yesterday.
we made a great point in last week that Trap 1 was the place to be in the opening round of Laurels. We expected it to be the case throughout the competition. And on Saturday night, well, we were duly proved completely wrong. Only one winner coming from Trap 1. That was our Sydney in the final heat. But all in all, if you actually look at the results of the Laurels on Saturday night, forget about the actual displays as regards the dogs for the moment, but if you actually look at the results, it would suggest this is a very, very open Laurels. Very little separating the 8 heat winners in terms of the clock. Tommy?
Yeah, very much so, Ian. I think like there's a good few of the clocks were within about 7 or 8 spots of each other. Most of them, Ballymac truly was the slowest, but there were circumstances there. It's unfortunately what we talk about at the moment with the Laurels, apart from the fact that we just hope that we're still racing next weekend, is that the draw is all important as the competition goes on. I don't know that we established a clear favourite out of the second round. That's what I came away with. Obviously, the draw being important again, you would think that Brody's Magic has probably earned that place. I'm not sure whether he will be. We have there's a reluctance, it seems, to price the Laurels anti-post. There's no prices up at the moment, certainly. To my mind, Brody's Magic is probably deserving favourite just based on the draw for next week. Greyhound 10, he got his win last week. It was a decent heat. He was up against Butsy Bengal, who probably disappointed slightly, but he couldn't lead Greyhound 10. It'll be interesting to see what happens next weekend, Dean. I think Greyhound 10 is in a bit of trouble, but we'll look at that in a few minutes when we actually go concentrate on the quarterfinals.
We surely will. Mert, we didn't get your impression of the opening round, but how about an overview of what you've found the competition thus far?
Well, I think, as usual, early pace counts a lot in Cork. And I think both in the old Western Road venue and now in Curraheen Park, early pace is key. But as you said, I think coming down on a Trap 1, as Tommy has, despite what you said, because Brody's Magic isn't one I noticed the next night. I'm not too sure. I think the clever trackers are the ones that may well come out on top here. Experience, and I'll be going into that a little bit later. Experience will tell as well. And I think the likes of, it wouldn't be what I've seen so far, it wouldn't be out of the question that a Ballymac Anton would come out and win this, because we don't know what the weather is going to be like over the next 2 weeks. We're not even sure we're going to be racing, but presuming we are, you're looking at a Greyhound that stays 550, 570, ran Red Sir Advert to 3/4 of a length in that match race in 3 before Christmas, and we saw what Red Sir did on Saturday night in Shelbourne. So it's that priceless Blake can't be ruled out. My fear is that the draws for the quarterfinals, in my estimation, slightly lopsided, Ian, in terms of, I think Heat 4 is a very, very hot heat. And I think you have 4 or 5 possibilities there. Only 3 can get through. I would only rule out 1 out of that particular heat. And I think there's a few, I won't say soft touches, but there's a few, unless something untold happens, you can see them advancing to the semi-finals. But overall, I think the racing has been interesting. But as Tommy said, and that's probably why the layers are not pricing anything up. It is very, very hard to come down hard and fast on one particular greyhound. I think it's a very, very open Laurels, and I can assure you there's no Rocket Bay Folio, there's no Spanish Battleship in this lot.
Tommy, Mert touching it there, early speed generally would be the thing you'd pick out of a Laurels. But the feature, if you actually go look through the remaining 24 greyhounds, there's an awful lot of strong running greyhounds left. Of course, the probably the best of them being Ballymac Anton. Big run the other night, 28-24, fastest of the night. And considering it was last into the opening corner, okay, granted he gets the freedom of Curraheen Park up the fence around the opening two bends, but that was more about track craft rather than the actual look. You know, he's certainly there with the claims. And as Mert says, if the weather comes down and it's a real wet, windy, cold night and on Laurel's fine light, who's to say Ballymac Anton couldn't achieve even more great things in his career?
Yeah, it's professionalism and his ability to track. He's been around the block a few times and he knows what he's doing. Himself and Sweep the Yard, I think it was, were two exceptional performances from way off the pace. I mean, look, if you stopped it halfway, you're talking about maybe 8 lengths down, over 5.25 around Curraheen Park and coming to win in 28-24, 28-25, those times. That's fairly phenomenal stuff now. I still think I'm not as excited about the fourth heat maybe as Mert is, in the sense that I would have thought the Ballymac Anton was probably a standout in that heat. To be quite honest about it,
you'd imagine if he comes away trapping, he should lead up 2 and 3, and that'd probably be enough for him to emerge a relatively comfortable winner.
I'd imagine so. I'd be quite happy. Unfortunately, I probably am going back to the trap ones again. Maybe we took a night off from trap one and only one winner, but I think we'll be going back to it next week. I thought it actually was a lovely draw for Ballymac Anton, but it doesn't matter whether he wins or not. The draw is there for him to qualify. I'd imagine he's probably in around third favourite whenever it gets priced up. Eventually, he will be around about third favourite, I'd imagine, for the Laurels. He has a chance, but at the same time, what I would prefer to be doing now, and obviously it depends on price, I prefer to be taking a chance on backing Brodie's Magic now, with the intention that it's not going to be my only bet to win the Laurels. I'd like to have it in my pocket before next week's heat, provided the price was half reasonable, and then consider it when it comes down to the final and the draw and the whole lot. I mean, I thought Brodie's Magic ran an exceptional race on Saturday night after missing. Well, he didn't miss the kick so much as he
dives in.
Well.
He's desperate for the fence.
Yeah, exactly. He's desperate for the fence. He got a heavy bump. He showed a lot of pace, a lot of determination. He kept it up all the way to the final bend, and the exertions told. I thought it was an exceptionally good run. Last week, I wasn't so certain that he would be a dog that would win a Laurels. Slightly more convinced now, although not fully. As I said, if I was playing Brodie's Magic now, I'd be playing him with the intention of hoping that I'd have a half a reasonable price, and then maybe be looking to cover or to win on something else come final night.
I have no doubt he'd be favourite when they do price it up. Mert, if I was to give you any dog in the competition and told you you could pick the trap draw, what dog would you pick and what draw would you pick?
Well, I think as Tommy said, I'd be quite happy now. I don't want to turn into Barry Drake and mention Yahal 10 times or 20 times. But
Barry, he's not here to defend himself now, Mert. Remember that.
Well, I know that, but I mean, he'd be grand. Tommy will tell him he'd be grand. I will mention Liam Dowling again, though. I think he's very happy with Ballymac Anton in trap 1. I think that's a very, very good draw. I am afraid of Sweep the Yard. I think to come from where Sweep the Yard came from on Saturday night just shows the type of finishing kick he has. But then again, if you see the quality that Ballymac Anton has been running against, I mean, they're running at the moment. He's ran against Wolf. He's beaten Wolf, and Wolf is second or third or fourth favourite for the English Derby at the moment. He has he's beaten Wolf. He's been beaten by Wolf. He's ran top greyhounds, Newin Taylor. He's taken them all on, and he's either beaten them or run close to them. Now, that to me is a higher quality of greyhound, and I'm not diminishing anything in the Laurels than what we have in the Laurels. So, as Tommy said, I think he's the professional greyhound in it. He may not win it, but I definitely think he will make the final. I think Brodie's Magic in trap 1. If you were to give me a dog outside.
You're just breaking up there, Mert. We're having problems with Mert at the moment. Can you hear us, Mert? You're breaking up just a moment there. Tommy, we'll go back to you just for a second there. On Saturday night, there were some fine performances from start to finish. Anything that we haven't mentioned that caught the eye? Obviously, Fáinne Curaheen, very impressive. I have to give him a mention. He was the sole Leinster winner, believe it or not. The remaining 7 heats all went to Munster connections. Fáinne Curaheen, ironically named after the Ring of Kerry. Anyway, Fáinne Curaheen, good winner for Carl Ramsbottom. Carl knows how to do a dog, and this dog, not without a chance, because he should get his draw most nights. He's well housed on the outside.
His only concern to my mind, and I don't want to put the dog down, but I don't think he really stays 5-2-5 when he's not in front. You know, I thought he was a big price on Saturday night. Given the level of competition, I thought he could dominate from the start, as he did. When he was behind Ballymactrudy in round 1, he didn't get to her, and that would concern me. I thought Cormac Toby, definitely the biggest cheer of the night was Cormac Toby. The Maronis, I think, in fines on that Greyhound. He beat Brody's Magic in the heat, and deservedly so. Went up in front, held him to about the third bend, where Brody's went on, and he came back again. The biggest cheer of the night, definitely. I liked Outnumbered the other night. I thought it was kind of like Shelburne form coming to the fore. His Shelburne form against Price's Blake. He is one of the keys to the Laurels, I think, because next week is going to be so.
He's drawn outside Grangeview 10. You think he's going to edge inwards?
Well, I tell you, if Grangeview 10 and Outnumbered break exactly the same way as they did on Saturday night, they're in 2 different heats. They do the same thing next Saturday night. Grangeview 10 is exiting the competition.
And he did on the ground nearly.
He did a 3:25, but Grangeview 10 didn't fly out. He actually, if you watch it closely, he kind of hesitated, waited for the box to open, and then just showed that massive pace that he has. If he does that Saturday night, the 5 dog will be in on top of him and he'll be gone. It's that is the key next week, and I think the layers will take on Grangeview 10 in the heat. Now, Pat Foyle did say that the dog was, he had looked at it as a 5-round competition, and he is taking his time with the dog. And the height respect for Pat as a trainer, I think he's a brilliant trainer. Maybe he'll do it, and maybe he'll get Grangeview to produce a brilliant exit, which is as important as the run to the bend. He has to break, or else 5 dog will be in on top of him, and it's game over.
One bitch that you'd alluded to earlier on, Ballymactrudy. She did win on Saturday night, Tommy, but is her presence in the competition an ongoing concern for the likes of Brody's Magic, for Grangeview 10, because of her pure trapping ability?
Yes and no. I thought Saturday night, I tipped against her Saturday night on the basis that I thought the Risk of Thunder bitch, Lorraine Moore's bitch, would break better than her. And because they were in 1 and 2, Risk of Thunder in 1 and Ballymactrudy in 2, I thought that she might get in the way. And as it happened, what happened was Risk of Thunder bitch, as far as I can see, she can break really well. She can go to the first line, but she doesn't quite get to the bend in this sort of company, that sort of early pace. She doesn't have the extra bit you need. It's fine to see the 320 somethings, but you got to do the 6 whatever is up to the bend. You've got to do that as well to get around the bend in front. Ballymactrudy showed a phenomenal injection of pace to lead, and she's a really game bitch. I mean, as you say, yes, she's going to do her 321s and whatever, 319. I think she might have on her card. If she does that, she could be a thorn in the side of some of the Greyhounds. And I suspect as we go on, we'll probably be looking to her to keep it local, if that's going to happen.
Mert, we've touched nearly on every heat winner, but one heat winner we didn't touch on just quite yet was our Sydney, a good winner from Trap 1. Obviously, it was a 4-dog affair, but should really speed up the fence for Pat Kiley. Pat's a great character. It's great to see him have one there at the moment.
Yeah, it is, and I think as well, I think being in Trap 1 with the early pace that our Sydney had, I think helped a lot. And I think the fact as well, I suppose you had 2 out in that heat, hadn't you? That was Razzle Dazzle Mia was out, and was it Johnny Sullivan's?
The Gerano dog.
Yeah. So I think, but I mean, there was nothing in it in the line. It was ahead, was it, in a dead heat?
Great finish.
Great finish. But delighted for obviously the Kileys to be involved, and it's great to see them in. And Pat is well able to prepare a dog, and you couldn't rule out our Sydney either. I mean, there is definitely 8 or 10 Greyhounds in this that you cannot rule out, and our Sydney would be one of them. I suppose looking at Grangeview 10, You'd have to say that he has the early pace, but I'm not too sure. Is he going to win this? He was impressive enough. 28:47 is a good time. I don't know what Tommy thinks of him, but Grangeview 10. I'm not too sure. He was odds on. It wasn't the hottest of heats. I think that heat 7. He had to be odds on to win it. He did what he had to do, but I'm not too sure in the rough and tumble now of the quarterfinals whether he should make the semi-finals definitely, but whether he can win it out, I'm not too sure. In Grangeview 10, he's been off the track for a while, as you said last week, and I think it's hard for some of those greyhounds to come back, particularly in a year that's truncated like this year has been.
Yeah, but in fairness, he has shown as much brilliance this year as he did last year, be it over sprint trips. But, you were talking about Rocky Bay Foley earlier on there, Mert. Like, this is the dog that led Rocky Bay Foley, Ballyan Sim, New Inn Leicester, all these great greyhounds last year in the final until the final sort of 25 yards. I can't see any difference from Grangeview 10 this year to last year. I think he's every bit as good. I'm going to go gung ho here. I still think Grangeview 10 perhaps is the dog to beat, although the draw is a concern the next night. We're going to look now at the quarterfinals. Trap 1 is certainly a place to be in the quarterfinals. If you were to pick a trap for the trap challenge in the 4 heats, it was no question to be trap 1. I would imagine it would be trading at about 6-1 on to win the trap challenge. You have Running to See Ya. I know you're a big fan, Tommy, in Trap 1. Brody's Magic is in Trap 1. Our Sydney's in Trap 1, who we've just mentioned, with outnumbered in Grangeview 10 out in 4 and 5, perhaps capable of clashing. And in the other heat, of course, the well-mentioned, well-touted Ballymac Anton. So Trap 1, certainly the trap to follow in the quarterfinals, Tommy.
Yeah, Running to See is a very interesting greyhound. And I think one of the aspects of the way this greyhound runs tells a lot about Curraheen Park as well. It doesn't want to be inside at the bend, but wants to be in Trap 1 to break as well as it can. The other night, it was odds on to win, 2's on, and it was drawn 4. And what I was saying to lads, the only fear I have here is, will it break as well as it did from the inside? It wants to be out the middle for the middle run, but it wants to be inside, because there is definitely a distinct advantage of being inside, drawn inside in Curraheen. It'll be a bit trickier. It'll be a bit trickier on Saturday night for Running to See Ya next Saturday night, because as I say, it'll probably break really well. 7 Heads Rock. Here's the dog now. This is going to be an interesting run to the bend. 7 Heads Rock has a 329 last week, 325 the previous week. Not an exceptional trapper, but God,
from the winning line to the corner, he's flying.
Just turn a pace from there. That's what I was saying about Risk of Thunder a minute ago. Risk of Thunder has it to the line, whereas this dog has it to the bend. It doesn't fly out of traps, but just the acceleration the last day. I actually think that might help Running to See Ya, because I think it'll probably either get out of its way or leave a gap up the inside for Running to See Ya, who would be a stronger dog. Like 7 Heads Rock wouldn't be the strongest of dogs, even over a 5.25. That's a cracking heat. I think it might set up for Drewby's Hamish to finish strongly and be in the mix again. I think Drewby's Hamish will qualify. Of course,
you took the words out of my mouth. If Run to See is going to edge off the fence with the likes of 7 Heads Rock, Traction Tornado on its outside, Risk of Thunder, as you said, lacks it into the opening bend. Drewby's Hamish could, just if he slipped onto the fence, get a lovely clear run, and there's no dog finishing faster than him.
He's a ferociously fast dog, isn't he, Ian? Yeah. Overall, he's a smashing dog. I think he'd qualify. I think, Running to See would be favoured and would be deserving favourite, but it'd be tight. It's not going to be a really short thing. The Risk of Thunder bitch has improved in her. She's only had 10 runs. Entitled to improve. I just, as I say, that run into the bend is the concern. Hamish might be a small bit of value in that heat. Johnny Linehan could have a 1-2.
Mert, before we look at we're going to get you to look at the heat 2, Brody's Magic heat. Any thoughts on that first heat? Anything that jumps out to you, like is Running to See the one to beat, or is there something else caught your eye?
I think 7 Heads Rock, and I'd also be very afraid of Droopy's Hamish. I think Droopy's Hamish has a good finishing kick. 7 Heads Rock, the last night, showed a lot of pace, but was picked off by Ballymac-Anton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Ballymac-Anton, but I mean, you won't meet a dog as clever as Ballymac-Anton. The way Ballymac-Anton railed the last night from the first bend even, and in the ground he made up. You always felt that 3 or 4 lengths wasn't a big enough lead, and he was going to collect the leader, and he did. And I thought late on, now it's a bit harsh to say it, but I thought late on that Seven Heads Rock didn't just got tired. Let's put it like that, and because I thought he really should have been closer to Anton on the line, even if Anton had picked him up. So Seven Heads Rock, I'm willing to give him another chance. I agree with you on trap 1. That could be, I would be a Seven Heads Rock man, and the danger there, I think, would be Drew Peace Hamish.
Tommy, just before we go any further, what was the weather like at Cork on Saturday night? Was it very cold or?
Not as cold as it was the previous weekend.
Okay, just with the times as close as they were throughout the night, there was no standout performance. So you just maybe wonder, was that a bit of a level or something? But no, maybe not. Mert, Heat 2, Brody's Magic is in trap 1. I assume you'll be going for Brody's Magic to land the spoils this week. You know, last week from 5, diving inwards, found himself in traffic problems, did show real good determination to get to the front, but Cork Rig Toby was too strong in the finish. They meet again, but from a very different draws.
Yeah, I mean, Brody's Magic did so well because obviously drawn out in the car park, completely and bought, I think, at the opening bend, and really Corrig Toby, the 6 dog, did well, came again, showed good resolve to win. And the time wasn't too bad either. But the way they're drawn this time round, you would have to say with Brody's Magic on the inside, that Brody's Magic, I would be fancying him big time. Ballymac Trudy is in that heat as well. And of course, a full sister of Pestana. Ballymac Trudy, that's missed by a lot of people along the way, not present company, but it's she's quick, and I think she can make it to the next stage, probably in second or third spot. But I'd be going for Brody's Magic. I think, as Tommy said earlier, the draw is ideal. I think if he grabs the lead, he'd be very hard to peg back. I'd expect him to come home. I can't see too many problems for him, really. And I think Corrig Toby will be finishing well. Ballymac Trudy will be up there early with the pace, probably. And I think those 3 will probably qualify. But Brody's Magic could record a good clock from trap 1. It'll be very interesting to see whether the theory of the trap 1, which Tommy and you expounded in last week's podcast, it's very interesting, and of course Stod's laws suggests or means that it doesn't happen then on last Saturday night. I think we might return to trap 1 next weekend, and Brody's Magic would be the choice.
Tommy, he'll be very short, won't he?
Yeah, extremely short. It's an ideal.
Are we talking 2 on 4 to 9 sort of situation?
Probably slightly better than maybe 4 to 7. I'd imagine, like, Ballymac Trudy's out in 5, and she can win from anywhere. She can break from anywhere.
But she's vulnerable with so many strong runners in this contest. That's my fear for her.
Yeah, and he's just an explosive early pacer. He's a proper early pacer, like he's an Irish Sprint Cup early pacer. This is a completely different test for her now. And actually, the Cork Toby dog is extremely lightly raced, and he flew out to the 329 from trap 6. For an inside seat to do that from trap 6 in Curraheen Park is quite impressive. I'll be interested to see what he can do. That was a huge step up on the previous week. And I know on the clock he has a bit to find. I'd just be interested in what he can do early. I don't expect him to win the heat or anything like that, but I think he's a good dog, and one we can probably watch with a bit of interest over the coming months. But I'd just be interested to see what he'll do early. But like, it's an ideal setup for Brody's Magic. The two is Ballycown, John. You wouldn't expect that to be getting in the way of Brody's Magic early. I think he'll just be out and gone. And Ballymac Trudy will need a little bit of luck to get around, or she'll have to show something a little bit extra to get around them.
Will she cut in, Tom, do you think?
I think she's a clever tracker. I think she'll have plenty of room in. That's it won't really matter if you saw her the last day. Even if she swings very wide off the last bench, she likes to cut across back to the rails and things like that. I think she's a clever enough tracker. I'd like Edel Toomey's bitch there, which is Ethiopia to qualify too. Obviously, there's a big yawl connection. And Beach Avenue, Ian, there's a dog you might know more about than I do.
Big, strong running greyhound. He flew home the other night. He was out with the Washington on the back straight.
Look, it was only a 4-dog. It was only a 4-dog race, and that obviously makes a huge difference. But by God, he showed phenomenal pace finishing. I thought he was up to be.
Well, he has won over 6 bends, of course.
Yeah. Paul said that he reckoned that just running over the 6 bends kind of might have switched him on a bit. Just gave him a bit of confidence.
It does tend to give dogs confidence. You saw Ballymac Kingdom became a different greyhound once he stepped up to 6 bends, and he seems more consistent and more happy in himself these days. And I think that's the case with a lot of those dogs. Which is Ethiopia. I'd like to see her qualifying. I think she's a really nice tool. She obviously a daughter of an Oaks winner, so the Toomeys have a very well bred one there, but she can certainly run. She's not just all about pedigree, but Brody's Magic, very, very hard to beat, no question about it. We're going to take a look now at the opening heat. We referenced this earlier on, Tommy and Mert. Here, Grangeview 10 is in 4, Outnumbered is in 5, Our Sydney in trap 1. It's not just about those 3. I thought Chasing Belfast showed a lot of pace in defeat the last night. Didn't find an awful lot up the home straight. Ballyhooly Keane tends to save his best for Munsters, no question. We've never seen the best of him in Shelburne Park, but he has some very useful form around Cork. And then Cash and Goby on the outside. Well housed as a wide seed, especially if 5 Outnumbered is cutting inwards. Can he make the most of it? That's the question. He has a 28.50 on his card there at Tralee. But Tommy, I'm going to stick with Grangeview 10. I just think he finds a way. I think he'll find a way. I know what you're saying about Outnumbered. What way do you see it going, Mert?
Well, I'll tell you something. My each way wager in the Laurels, would you believe, was Cash and Goby at 50 to 1. I'm still on. And I took 40s over the weekend.
Though it's a tough heat, Mert, you're happy with the draw.
I'm happy with the draw, and so is Chris. I was talking to Chris on Friday night in Tralee before he headed off on Saturday, and Chris's string is running very well at the moment. He has a qualifier for the A3 final in Tralee, which is worth $3,500 this coming Saturday night as well. Trip to Japan, and remember Chris won with, I think, the Greyhound Cash and Legend, who was the longest price Greyhound of the millennium, 14 to 1. He won in 2008, picked off 2 front runners, Cash and Legend.
You just beat me to it. I've just been looking it up as we spoke. I was wondering what year it was. I couldn't remember. I was there that night. Turned into a decent sire, Cash and Legend, in fairness.
Absolutely, yeah. And Chris well able to prepare a greyhound for an event like this. He likes Cork as well. He likes bringing his runners to Cork. And Cash and Goby, obviously, look, it's a kind of whistling against the wind in many respects with the quality that's in there. But Cash and Goby, nicely drawn. If anything happens at the inside, you've got a lot of pace. Our Sydney, Ballyhooly, Keane, Grangeview 10, you would fancy. I think Outnumbered, very impressive last Saturday night. It's a competitive heat. But I think Cash and Goby, she stay wide. And I think has a great chance at picking up a place and qualifying for the semi-finals. And at this stage, look, as we all know, it's all about making it to the next round. How many winners have we had of major classics and major races who have just qualified, and then along the way might have won one heat and came along and blitzed their rivals in the final. So if you're not in, you can't win. So I'm going for Cash and Goby there to qualify and keep my investment alive.
Go on, Mert.
Well, I'm
look after the pocket first. We're dead right.
Absolutely. I mean, this is all about self-preservation, isn't it? At different levels. But yeah, Cash and Goby, I think. But look, if you were to ask me to name the winner, I think it's between Grangeview 10 and Our Sydney. 1, 4, and 6 would be my 3 there.
1, 4, and 6. Tommy, your view? We
I'll
sort of heard it earlier on, but
Well, I'd be quite strong on 5 here, taking a chance, of course, because Grangeview 10 is a great dog. The outnumbered dog, he actually seemed to get slightly clipped from behind at the bend last week, and still did a fast time. Going back to Chris Houlihan for a second, obviously, you know, with Cash and Legend having won it, and all of Chris's good dogs he brought to Curraheen over the years, I was kind of looking at his greyhounds before the Laurels, and I'd say I hardly recognise any of them. They all seem to be coming from graded level, and I thought maybe he didn't have much, but he just show you he's a good operator. And Cash and Goby has a chance to qualify because this race.
She's only a September, in fairness to her. She's only had she had 12 races prior to the start of Laurels, but she's clearly talented. She's only out of the frame on 4 different occasions, and as a pupsher that can happen, certainly around the likes of Tralee. But yeah, well drawn, Tommy. You're no doubt of that.
No, not at all. I think she has a chance of qualifying. I think she's just an improver. I say I have a respect for Chris's greyhounds when he brings them there. Cash and Legend, we were there that night, Gene, and when Cash and Legend came high, wide, and handsome. Trap 6.
Handsome, yeah, that's definitely that case.
I just think, to be honest, but I think there's a bit more in outnumbered, and I think. As I said earlier on, that Patrick Foyle was talking about, maybe going easy on Grangeview 10 early. He'll know he'll need him and just that good bit sharper this weekend. If he doesn't break really well, he won't lead outnumbered and he won't win, and that's what I'd be concerned about. And I feel you can be conscious about these things. I feel like I've been a bit down in Grangeview 10. I don't want to be that. You're just looking for an alternative to the obvious. I mean,
don't worry, Tommy. For as much as you're down on him, I'm up on him. Okay, I've seen plenty of outnumbered, and that was one of his better starts. That's my fear for them. He's not as consistent at boxes as some of these greyhounds. At Grangeview 10, yes, he didn't quite blitz out the last 2 nights, but it's just that immediate acceleration, and I'm just hoping that he gets a stride. And once he gets a stride, he's gone. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, but it's those first couple of yards where outnumbered goes left. I mean, literally, we're talking about a fifth of a second, probably 0.2, like where the difference. You say one goes in, and if they break level, Grangeview needs to accelerate quickly to get away because your man will still be stepping inside. He nearly has to get the best part of a length out of him within the first couple of strides, or else it could be in trouble. Look, I hope he's not, because we want the best greyhounds to qualify. So
yeah, in fairness, there's a good spread of the greyhounds across the 4 heats. By all accounts, if the best 3 dogs in each of the heats, and we're not going to name the best 3 dogs in each of the heats, but if they go through, we're all of a sudden looking at a red hot Laurels again.
Yeah, and that's what we
serious
want.
greyhounds in the semis.
I want 4 and 5 both to qualify in that heat.
Yeah,
I want them both to get through somehow. I don't know how to do it, but I want them to qualify both.
No, but that's fair enough. We'll go to the final heat, and I have no doubt that Mert is going to oppose Ballymac-Gonton here, because he hasn't said anything about him here tonight thus far. Mert, is it safe to say you're tipping Ballymac-Gonton to win the final heat?
Nothing you say about me is safe to say, Ian. You should know that by now. By the way, let's throw this in for what it's worth at the moment. Ballymac-Gonton obviously is trained by you-know-who. Well, his son, Shane, the bow Shane, his birthday was yesterday. He was 32
good man, Shane.
yesterday. So Shane, good man. And guess whose birthday is today? Sarah Kinsley. Now, they're 2 who have really been brilliant throughout the pandemic, and they've been great for greyhound racing. So happy birthday to Sarah today, and to Shane on yesterday. Now, Shane, I was going to say the Beauty and the Beast, but we leave it off. But
I'm not sure Sarah'd like to be called the Beast now, in fairness.
Hang on a second. He's a huge unit. He's the most gentle giant and the most solid guy that you could meet. But seriously, Ballymac-Gonton, and you've got obviously Priceless Blake, winner of the English Derby last year. But I was disappointed with him on Saturday night. I don't know what Tommy thinks, but I think 28.73 is what he returned. He was evens on the night to win that, and Priceless Blake and didn't outnumbered, as Tommy said, ran very, very well. So I'm not too sure is Priceless Blake, a threat in this one. But certainly, of course, Shane Dowling will have an interest in that as well, on Priceless Blake, because it's trained by Paul Hennessy. So there'll be no talk in that house maybe for until Saturday night, until both are through.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be plenty of chat in that house. Can't shut the two of them up, for God's sake.
I know, I know. And obviously, Sweep the Yard came with an absolutely withering run. And Sweep the Yard is going to be danger to Ballymacanton, I feel. And the outside, I think was it you or Tommy that dismissed Fáinne Kerry?
We didn't.
earlier?
Neither of us dismissed him. Now, in fairness,
but you
just said he's not the strongest over the trip. He must lead, and if he doesn't lead, he's vulnerable. But on this occasion, he certainly has strong leadability claims, as they say.
Yeah, well, he's a lot of early pace, and any dog that's called after the Ring of Kerry has to be quality and has to be good, because that's where you should stick Kate next year, Ian. So we'll say there.
Mert, I've been to the Ring of Kerry, and it can be an awful miserable place too. Now, let it be said.
Hang on a second now. This is turning into. I'm telling you, just have to say, Tommy's doing his best for Killarney. I'm doing my best for Tralee and Liam Dowling, and for Ballyduff and Chris Houlihan. And there you are, hurling away in the ditch from leafy suburbs of Dublin.
From our nation's capital is what you meant to say, is it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I wouldn't go there now. But anyway, New in Leicester, again, I don't think New in Leicester wide is a threat to Ballymacanton or Priceless Blake. I hope, obviously, again, quality. Not there's quality everywhere, but I think Ballymacanton will win. I think Sweep the Yard is a big danger, and I think then take your pick between Priceless Blake. Blast of Fire was pretty good on Saturday night as well. Tommy was there. I was watching on the screens. I was watching 3 screens because we had the English Derby, we had the Laurels, and we had a pretty good action from Shelbourne, and locally in Tralee in the Kingdom Greyhound Stadium we have a big, pretty good A3 sweep on at the moment as well, with big money for it. So I didn't know which way to look. And I think I missed Blast of Fire's finish. But anyway, I think it's Ballymacanton. I think Priceless Blake is quality, so should get in to the next round. And then I think the 2 outside runners might suffer. Fáinne Kerry, if it gets to the front, could be there, but I think Sweep the Yard is probably. So Ballymacanton will go for Priceless Blake and Sweep the Yard, which of course Tommy, being in exile Dublin in Cork, will completely disagree and turn it over in its head.
Well, I can promise you, I think Tommy's probably going to go for Ballymacanton. Tommy, these are like old friends of ours. We've got 3 dogs here. Okay, Ballymacanton's not quite veteran yet, but he is a veteran, basically. He's a month shy of veteran status. Priceless Blake, New in Leicester. These dogs are all, 4 years of age or into their 5th year. Sweep the Yard, I'm more than familiar with. Course, a regular at Shelbourne Park, and Fáinne Kerry, well, I'd say of his 41 starts, I've probably commentated on 25 of them. So these are like old friends to ours. We're not going to throw insults at any of them. They're proper greyhounds. Priceless Blake was a really good winner of the English Derby last year. If you look at his performance in the final, a tremendous display, beating the likes of Ballymactaz and Skywalker Logan. It's hard to tip against your friends, but I dare say on this occasion you'll probably go for Ballymacanton as well.
Yeah, like they've been a mainstay of racing for a couple of years, and I think like even New in Leicester, he ran a cracker the other night, but I think his days of winning the Classic over 5.25 have gone by. You know what I mean? He has a 29.40 something, I think, over 5.50 in Shelbourne recently enough. But
the longer run to the corner suits him. You know what I mean? But
yeah, he's just not quite as sharp as he was. I mean, he's. I don't know if I ever had him down as a Laurels winner, but I certainly don't this year. And that's not trying to run down the dog. He's been a smashing dog. I think I made the point during the Derby too that we thought it was going to be one of the young dogs was going to come to the fore. And now, saying that, in this heat, Ballymacanton, of the dogs that is rising for, he is the one that's closest to his best form. He's holding it best at the moment. And the beauty of him, of course, is that he can qualify no matter what happens early. He was last on to the bend last week. He won't be. I don't think he'll be last this week. But I think they'll be tight enough. I think there'll only be 2-3 lengths between the whole field at the bend, and he'll just tuck in behind them and pick them up. It is a great chance for Fáinne Kerry. As I said, I don't see it winning the Laurels because when he's led, he's vulnerable. But it is a good chance for him to lead. And if you lead, you've obviously got a fantastic chance of qualifying for the next round. So I could see Fáinne Kerry being being a semi-finalist.
Tommy, I'm going to ask you to be nice and brief. What will win the Laurels?
If I had to have a bet right now, it would be Brody's Magic.
Brody's Magic. Mert, I'm going to ask you to be really brief now, okay?
Yeah, I know.
What wins the Laurels?
What wins the Laurels? Look, the heart says Ballymacanton. Probably would be third or fourth favourite, I'd imagine. But maybe Brody's Magic too would be my selection. If you were to put, give me €50 of your wad of cash, I would go for Brody's Magic.
I'm not going to give you €50 of my wad of cash.
That's okay, but I will collect each way on Cash and Gobi anyway, so I will share my loot with both of you.
Good man, Mert. That's well, for what it's worth. I'm going to go with Grange U10 because the other two went for Brody's Magic. Although
you're outnumbered,
whichever is drawn on the inside of the other in the final, if they both get there, I think will probably win the Laurels. Also, for the record, I'm going to go with traps 1, 1, 1, and 4. I'm going to go with Anton, Brody's Magic, Run and See Ya, and Grange U10. The 4 favourites should be easy enough to remember. Well, that's it for Talking Laurels for another week. We're down to the last 24. Next time we'll speak to you, we'll be down to the final 12. Hopefully, the right 12 will be there because this is really shaping up like a tremendous Laurels. Join us next week for more Talking Laurels.